Welcome to the Chat and Dematt podcast. Today we are talking to one of the most recognisable groomers in the UK currently. She is a master groomer, judge, TV regular and a mummy to many, children and dogs included. It's Verity Hardcastle. So hi Verity, welcome to the Chat and Dematt podcast. How are you feeling today?
Great, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. It's Friday for us while we're recording, so nice
Yep.
wind down to the weekend.
You say it's Friday, but here in England, the kids have just broken up from school.
Oh no.
So I embark on my first ever summer holiday, 6 weeks of kids. So yeah.
See,
Am I
fine.
celebrating? I'm not sure.
Maybe good memories to be made.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
some
yeah.
bad ones too.
All right, all of that.
So first, I always ask every groomer that comes on this show, but what was your journey into grooming?
Okay, so I actually studied business and law, kind of went and sat at a desk and realized almost immediately, what on earth am I doing? This is not for me. While I was doing that, though, I was showing my Doberman. So I got a Doberman when I was about 18, and it came with from this amazing breeder, and it came with the proviso, yes, you can have this stunning bitch, but you have to show her. And obviously, I've come from a very doggy background. My family have always, grown up around dogs. My granddad had quite a big gun dog kennel and things like that. So I've always, had quite hands-on experience with dogs, but I've never shown a dog. So she taught me how to do the handling side of, the whole, even filling in the forms to enter a dog show. It was all new grounds. And I absolutely loved it. And it sort of threw me into the world of dogs. And I actually thought to myself, I really want to make this like a mainstay of my life because I love it so much. And it's like, how do I monetize that? How do I make that actually pay the bills? Because it's, as you know as well as I do, what we do isn't stroking dogs all day. So it's trying to find that path. Do I want to be a walker? Rainy North Yorkshire in winter, it doesn't sound so appealing to me. I don't know, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fair weather walker, but day in, day out, I'm not so sure. Then I stumbled across grooming and did a taster sort of course on grooming and absolutely fell in love with it. I think it was my inner artist maybe just came out and I just absolutely loved it, through my heart, my soul, everything. I ate, slept, repeat, that whole thing. Grooming, if I wasn't training, I was reading up on it. To be honest, when I trained, it wasn't really Facebook groups, there wasn't any of that, there wasn't, people are really lucky the resources they have at their fingertips nowadays. I think there was one blog feed that you could read, but other than that, it was just very much getting down to reading the books and talking to people. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and I ran with it.
Yeah, once you get involved with the dogs, it's hard to come away from them, I found.
Yeah, I kind of found my passion. I think it was that passion that I've been looking for all my life. All those years I can remember sitting at school in the careers office when they're trying to figure out what you want to do, and I'm just nothing really sang to me. I used to get very bored at school. I'd be the girl, daydreaming out the window. Nothing really engaged me quite as much. And then once I fell into the world of dogs and dog grooming, it was like a light bulb had gone off in my head.
Something just clicked for you.
Yeah, this is it. This was my calling. This is what I was destined. I was destined to wash dogs' bums.
So let's talk a bit about your time on TV as a groomer. And I read somewhere that your TV debut was actually at Crufts.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
How cool was that?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. So I was asked to go on I was showing, it was one of my poodles, Alice, at the time. And I was asked to go on and just do some talking about grooming and to teach Alan Carr how to groom a dog.
Wow.
So that
was interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, working with people in TV, meet all sorts of characters. Yeah. And he was just truly awesome, genuine, lovely guy. Yeah. And we just had a real laugh with it. So that was my first sort of foray into TV work.
And since then, you've had so many appearances on TV. You're a regular on Steph's Packed Lunch. Mm-hmm. What would your tips be to somebody who's maybe in grooming and thinks, yeah, I'd love to give that TV presenting a go.
Yeah, so no matter how much you feel like a bit of a rabbit in headlights, which I'm sure inside I felt at the time, it's really about trying to find that inner confidence and know your stuff, speak with confidence, and just have fun with it. Try be yourself as much as possible, really, because yeah, your personality shines. We're all individuals, and
Yeah.
I would definitely say, yeah, just do you.
And I always think with TV and radio and things like that, you always sort of fit into a category, because I've done radio and stuff in the past and they've always told me your voice is for evening time.
Oh, the smooth sounds of Jenny.
Yeah, yeah. So I always think sometimes people are like, oh, I don't think I could maybe do that. I'm not bubbly enough. There's definitely a place somewhere.
100%. Even if you don't even like to be on camera, you can do voiceover reels, all sorts of things like that. So you can trim sort of with the camera behind you.
Yeah.
You're not front facing and you can just voice over it. There's all sorts of things you can do. Absolutely. It's just finding, if you really want to get into it, finding your corner.
Your niche.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you were obviously a judge on BBC's Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
So what did you enjoy most about that?
Wow, what an experience. I don't think any of us realised when we embarked on that task what a huge production it would be. I think even the contestants walk into we had 2 big studios that we worked from, and it was just incredible. Like the amount of cameras, the amount of, members of the team, it was enormous. And it was scaled back because this was one of the first shows that was filmed in the whole of the UK coming out of lockdown. So, well, actually, when we'd just gone into lockdown, so I think we'd had lockdown 1, and then this was one of the first to start recording. Absolutely loved it. Loved working with everybody. The camaraderie was fantastic. It was very much, even though it was a competition, it was very much a team thing, which I think you see a lot with a lot of those similar type shows. But it really is true to say it was an experience. We also tried to hold each other's hands through it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
And what was your biggest challenge on it as a judge?
I think it is, trying to be critical, because you have to have this view of, positives and negatives about something, but seeing how hard somebody's worked on something. Yeah. So you've watched them pour their heart and soul into something. There was lots of tears and, emotions on the show and all sorts. And then you've got to sit there and critique it. Oh. I'm a people person. So that's quite hard to just be like, not tear something down, but, to gently point out areas of improvement. Who wants that job?
Exactly. And was there any of the challenges or the grooms that was like stand out for you?
Obviously absolutely love the puppy challenge because the puppies are just absolutely adorable. We had a studio full of puppies. That's pretty amazing, right? I was really excited for the Malamute challenge as well, because I don't think any of the production team realize what it's like when you start blasting
hair everywhere.
And you could see the hysteria as they all run and try and like cover the cameras and things. So we're like, these like hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment in the studio, and we were like, we want you. Things like that's really funny. Just things as well, like Asian styling isn't really my corner. I like to give it a bash, don't get me wrong, but just being able to deep dive into that, like for me as a judge, I obviously had to do a lot of the theoretical learning on those sorts of things, so I could approach it with lots of knowledge, because everybody is a groomer, we can't be an expert in every single thing that we're in. So it was really interesting for me coming at that as as a student, almost like learning about the theory behind how it actually should look and why they look like that, so they can wear clothes and everything like that. It was just I think we're always learning in this profession. That's what's so fantastic about it.
Exactly. And speaking of learning, well, not learning but competing, you're obviously a top class competitor. I think I remember Kayla, our brand ambassador, she was on Pitch Perfect. Said to me one time, she's like, there's competing and then there's competing in a Class A Poodle with Verity Hardcastle.
Yeah, so poodles are my thing for sure.
Yeah. But what was your first competition like? Were you excited, nervous?
Yeah, so we were quite lucky because we were sort of pushed into it by
Yeah.
our grooming school.
Yeah.
So the first competition I ever did, I went and did my initial training with Look North in Keighley.
Yep.
And when I was training, I was also training at the same time as Pammy Carmichael,
Yeah.
Og, who is Mrs. Asian Fusion, and Leslie Harpham, who was
Yeah.
Groom Team English. She did her Norfolks. So us three actually learned together.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And we
what
all...
a great class of people.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we all sort of held each other's hands as we embarked on our first grooming competition. And we were so lucky because we had Joanne Angus and Zoe Duffy, obviously helping us, mentoring us, just basically telling us what to do, like little things like, you know, I see a lot of people turning up to their first grooming competition and they don't have like something to cover their table with. You know, and they're thinking, why is everybody whipping out these silky cloths? You know, what's this all about? So it's just somebody just to point all these things out to you. So I remember my first competition dog was a Bichon cross with a Lhasa, and I think he was called William. And I've still got the photos now, not on my phone because, again, we didn't really do, you know, that sort of thing then, you know, all the camera phones, but I had a couple of, you know, the professional photographer shots who that came in like a sleeve, like you used to get your old school photos in, you know. And I'm there and I used to have blonde hair, you know, well, a mistake of my youth.
Back in the day, we've all done it.
And I literally looked like I'd been pulled through a hedge backwards, like the sweaty hair was like stuck to my face. All the makeup had like slithered down, and I was stood there proud as punch with my dog, like.
So, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to really level up their grooms for competitions?
So, I would say try get a mentor. It's something that they do in America all the time, and never once have I been asked by anybody if they want to come with me to a grooming show, help me prepare my dogs. You know, there's all sorts that you can learn from this traveling together. And this is something that they do a lot in America. So you offer your time for free to help somebody who's competing. And in turn, they give you loads of information and tips on the way that can help you, you know, on this journey. And I think that's a fantastic thing because it's mutually beneficial. I always need somebody to help me because I've normally got multiple dogs with me. And in turn, you know, you're offering them, you know, hopefully great knowledge. So I think that's a fantastic thing. So if there's a particular breed that you want to go into, terriers or whatever it is, just approach that person, send them a DM and just suggest it. And I think that's fantastic where you can learn, you know, just little things like handling techniques, how they bath, what the products they use to bath their dog in before a show, like what drying techniques they use, you know, there's all sorts you can learn. So, I mean, obviously I don't compete at the moment. I'm showing, like, so tomorrow I've got Leeds Champ show.
Oh, wow.
So I'm concentrating on my show at the moment, but I'm doing a lot of judging appointments now. But definitely I think that's a great way of learning. And also go for training days with people. So obviously I did my initial training, but I didn't stop there. You know, if there was an area that I wasn't, you know, 100% confident in, like hand stripping, like a hard coat, like a Scotty, I would find somebody who shows that breed or is an expert in that breed and then go and travel and spend some time with them and just try and hone those skills so that I can be a really great all-rounder. So never stop learning, basically.
Welcome to Quickfire Questions. If you haven't listened before, in Quickfire Questions, we ask Verity some questions, and all she has to do is give the first answer that pops into her head. This round of Quickfire Questions is brought to you by Heineken, an innovative leader in animal shearing whose quality and comfort never compromise. Heineken opals or sapphires?
Ooh, opal.
What makes you smile?
My family.
Favourite food?
Japanese.
What's the most challenging dog you've ever groomed?
Oh my gosh. Okay, give me a minute. Well, there's one dog. Oh, I know which. Yeah, I won't name the name of the dog, but I used to groom a rough collie who was tricky.
Straight scissors or curved scissors?
Straights.
What would you be if you weren't a groomer?
I think I'd be an interior designer.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure one of our past podcast guests said that. They were like,
really?
It's maybe a groomer thing.
Maybe, yeah. Absolutely love interiors.
So, TV presenting or presenting a seminar?
Oh, TV presenting.
What dog breed would you want to be for the day?
Probably one of my dogs, one of my poodles.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't groom day, because that's a bit boring, isn't it?
And finally, this last one's a bit of a wild card, but how long would it take for you to shave down a mammoth with your opals?
A mammoth?
A mammoth, take a guess.
A woolly mammoth?
Yeah.
With my opals? Oh.
Yeah.
A couple of minutes. Let me think. It's got to be, to do a good job, it's got to be a full day's job, right?
Full day, full 24 hours.
It's got to be a full day, and I need spare blades. Thank you very much, because I'm pretty sure they don't get regular grooms.
So, with grooming advice, I have been told you're the Piddle Queen. You just said piddles are your thing.
Yeah.
Why are you so drawn to piddles?
So, I was foolishly a self-proclaimed big dog girl. I was like, just about the big dogs. I don't like those little things. La la la. And then I started grooming, and I absolutely fell in love with the poodles. I think it's their little tiny faces, those long noses. And now I've got a toy poodle now. So I went from obviously Dobermans to miniature poodles, and I have a toy as well at the moment. So I'm just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And just the characters, they're fantastic characters. You know, little dogs really do have such huge personalities. And so now I love whatever size, big, tiny, whatever. And the hair's so versatile, isn't it? I mean, that it's literally like topiary. You can create so many. I get bored doing the same haircuts all the time on my dogs. So like just today, my Olive was in a modern trim. Yeah. I bathed and dried her, and I was like, I've not done a German trim in a while. Those ears are coming off. You know, I'm just constantly switching it up, and I love that they're so versatile like that. Yeah. And what would be your top tips for grooming poodles? So preparation, 100%. I'm sure everybody's heard it a million and one times. Just making sure you maintain the coat. I don't think people bath them enough. Yeah. So I bath my show dogs every 3 or 4 days. Okay. And then my other poodles, like try to bath them every week, just to maintain like a good quality of coat, and then tip them all the time. So to create a good density of coat, you need to be trimming them all the time. Don't let them overgrow too much, because that hair can become really soft underneath, a bit flippy floppy. Just preparation, maintenance, definitely. And if you really, really want to, you know, do a deep dive into the breed, so deep dive into poodles, and, you know, really perfect it, there's nothing better than starting to show the breed, because then you start looking at the dog completely differently. You start looking at how the haircut looks on the move, how that holds together when they're moving around the ring. You know, you're really standing back looking at that silhouette, and you've got a wealth of knowledge around you of people who've been in that breed for, you know, 30, 40, 50 even years, you know. So showing's really helped to, you know, sort of upgrade, perfect. That's it, level up my poodles. And apart from poodles, is there any other dogs that you really like to groom? I love a schnauzer. Yeah, absolutely. I do like grooming terriers as well. And not so much hand stripping anymore. I don't know. I love scissoring dogs. So I mean, I like a border, you know, that's quite chilled. Yeah. I'll roll out my stool and lower my table, and it just seems quite manana when I've got a border terrier, and it's quite relaxed, cup of tea, you know. Yeah. But you know, especially those ones that just wants to fall out. Oh, it's delicious. But I think it's more the characters that I like rather than a
Yeah.
specific breed. So I breed also, I groom, obviously, I've groomed pretty much most breeds of dogs.
Yeah.
And there's certain Bichons that I will love trimming, and there's others where I'm like, oh, come on then, let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's more the characters, I think, of the dogs. Like there's certain dogs I see in the diary, and I'm like, yes, they're in.
Yeah.
Just because we have a real rapport, and yeah, they just make it really pleasurable. So I would say nothing specifically, really.
Good. Just clicks with them. Yeah.
Yeah. They all have their own individual personalities, don't they? And
Oh, 100%. I have
yeah.
3 dogs and like the 2 Staffies and a Staffy Mastiff.
Mm-hmm.
So all similar breeds, different, completely different personalities. So yeah, they're just wee
Yeah,
characters.
same with my guy. They're all poodles now in the house, and every single one of them is just so different. I mean, they dogs do have breed traits, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. So they're all pokey poodles. I call they all come and poke me with their noses, and they all have similar little things quirks that they might do.
Yeah,
But yeah, they all have such different likes and dislikes.
exactly. And is there any type of poodle trim that you prefer to do? Do you have a favorite?
Ooh, no. I think
No?
no, I wouldn't say so. I think, like I said before, I get bored doing the same trim all the time. So I love challenging myself. I just put my oldie in a retro trim
Yeah.
because it's just something I've never really done. So it's absolutely hilarious. I went across against the grain of everything that I've normally done. I clipped too high up the legs, just because that's what they
Yeah.
used to do in the 70s. I clipped way too far down the tail. Again, that was a thing. I created no angulation in the back legs just
Yeah.
because I thought, because they used to have very straight rears, didn't they?
Tubular.
Or they were trimmed to look like like big saddles over the shoulders and a donut muzzle.
Oh
Like she
wow.
literally looked like something from like those 70s photos that you saw. So I just did everything. So I just looked at a few reference photos and I just thought this would be fun. So I just love that, again, the versatility. And I wouldn't say there was anything specific that I like trimming wise. Don't get me wrong, for competition work, I love doing the shorter trim. So I love doing German trim, modern trim, anything like that, tea trim in the competition ring. But obviously for showing, we always do sort of puppy pants.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's, very much the samey. So I think that's because my show dogs always have to be in that sort of trim. That's why I love on once they're retired, or, obviously my Olive, I've retired her from the show ring. I just use her for demoing and things like that. And then Lily, I just love to go wild.
Go crazy with them.
Yeah, exactly. And because they're black and I'm not really into dyeing dogs or anything like that, I get that creative flair from coat carving and doing sort of slightly different things by using the texture of their coat and the different lengths and exposing some skin here and there to create sort of depth and something interesting, exciting, where you can't use color.
Yeah, you really do talk about grooming like it's like an art piece.
Yeah, it is though, right?
Oh no, 100% it is, but I've never heard somebody just go so like the depth and texture.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really cool.
I never thought about it like that. Yeah. I think I do probably approach it like that, and I put so much effort into it as if every dog that's coming into me is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I never look at a dog and think that'll do.
I
am the ultimate faffer. I need somebody in my salon, just put the scissors down, Verity.
Stop, Verity, stop.
Walk away, like you're faff it. I will, because I'm always just tweaking. Just maybe this will suit the dog better. And just constantly looking at my canvas, the beautiful dog that's in front of us and thinking, how can I make this dog look like the absolute best version of themselves? Yeah. And that's what grooming really is. Where, it's an enhancement, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So you recently became the brand ambassador of Heineken.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like, why Heineken?
So I've used Heineken pretty much all my grooming career, and They are obviously quality through and through,
Yeah.
the Swiss company. And I went over to Switzerland to visit the factory,
Oh
which
wow,
was,
how was
yeah,
that?
what a journey.
Yeah.
It was quite far away. It was like, I feel like 5 train rides, 1
Oh
plane
no way.
ride. Yeah, yeah.
In the
It
middle
was
of
in,
nowhere.
yeah, Herzogenbuchsee was is where they're situated. Absolutely enormous. I don't think we realize when we pick up those clippers, the amount of sort of skill and technology and
Yeah.
engineering that goes into producing those and their blades. So they're obviously pretty big in sheep
Yeah.
shearing, cattle shearing, all the rest of it as well. So the business, but obviously the grooming sector of their business has
Yeah.
really flown,
Yeah.
and that's quite a large proportion of their business now as well. It was just fantastic. The whole team are just such a lovely group of people.
Yeah.
I just think that we really gelled. We have the same sort of ethos, quality pays, and yeah, I'm excited. I've got a few filming days booked in with
Yeah.
them, and we're just going to create some amazing content for you all, and can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you had to pick a Heineken product, what would you pick?
Loving my opals,
Yeah.
which is their cordless clipper. It's so quiet. It's so powerful. Like they're just effortlessly just trim through any coats,
Yeah.
even clip offs, things like that. I absolutely love my style MIDI as well. My trimmer. I just use
Yeah.
that day in day out for everything. It's just so versatile. Like clipping out pads, trimming just like detail work
Yeah.
around the lips of the dog, just getting that super clean, doing schnauzers ears. Hygiene areas. I'm just like click, 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 every different length. Here we go. Super fast. Armpits done, poodle's feet done. It's just, yeah, it's great. Really like speeds up my work.
So after hearing absolutely everything you do,
Mm.
um, you also own 3 poodles, am I correct?
4.
4 now, 4
Yeah.
poodles, 2 kids.
4 poodles, 2 kids. Yeah.
So how do you juggle all of that, being a groomer, presenter, judge,
Yeah.
everything?
I've just finished my book as well with a publishing company.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I know. It's crazy. So that's going to be out in February. Obviously, it's got to go through quite a lot of edits and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, how do I juggle it all? I have a really supportive family. I'm really
Yeah.
lucky to have a super supportive family who, like even today, my mum came and helped bath the dog for me
Yeah.
because I just had so much on. Lists. I love a list.
Yeah.
Every morning I wake up and I think what has to be done today, and I write it on a piece of paper, very old school. I have to have it written on a piece of paper, and that keeps me focused on the tasks that I've got to do that day. Not gonna lie, I probably pull 60 plus hours a week,
Yeah. Oh
just trying to
gosh.
juggle everything around children. So I've obviously got a child who's at school, great, but I also have a 3-year-old
Yeah.
who's, who the poor lad can't live his life in nursery. That's just not fair, is it? So I often find that I, will pick up working at 7 o'clock in the evening and
Yeah.
just do bits and pieces then. Yeah. Yeah, my work, I can't sit here and say that I've got everything sussed out, because I
Yeah.
haven't, because sometimes I will feel really overwhelmed. And, I even rang my mum last week and I just said, oh my gosh, I'm just feeling like swamped.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I haven't got my SHIT together at all. Like, I'm trying, but I'm like a swan. Like my legs are going like Billy O under the water, and then on top I'm like, yeah, everything's great. Yeah, yeah, it's great.
But you're
Yeah,
handling it well. I
yeah,
couldn't do
yeah.
it. I'd be passed out on the floor if I was you.
Well, if anything, it keeps my metabolism like snap, 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 right? I can have those extra cakes because the stress in my body just burns everything off. So no, I haven't got everything together, but definitely listing, trying to stay organized,
Yeah.
like I keep quite a strict diary in my phone, and I have an Apple Watch, which really helps me because it'll flag up like different things on the day, like make sure you do this, or there's this form to fill in for school, or don't forget this club's on, and you need to pick this dog up at this time, and it like nudges me all the time, and I found that really helpful because it's just there constantly, just making sure that I don't forget anything, because there's nothing worse than, you know, forgetting to turn up with something, or you know.
So you did mention your book there, but what else is in the future for Verity Hardcastle?
A few things that hopefully, fingers crossed, exciting projects that TV related, but we'll see, because like with everything with TV, you know,
all hush hush,
easy come, easy go. You never know until you sign anything. Obviously my podcast, I've got a new podcast sponsor, Butternut Box, so that's really exciting. So I'm working with Butternut Box now, so we're filming some content, and I'm really excited to work with a company that I think's absolutely fabulous.
I do love their adverts.
Oh, I know, they're so cool, aren't they?
So good.
Mm-hmm. I think they've really hit the market exactly the right place. Their target audience and just how they market everything, it's just really fresh, really cool, like something that we've not really seen before. And the food's, you know, amazing, human grade food. It's fabulous. So I'm really excited to work with those guys, and obviously more content with Heineken. I've got quite a lot of judging appointments coming up this premiere Grooming August, so I'm excited about that. Yay. And Lackey Tyndall's doing a show as well in October, so I'm going to judge that, so that'll be really exciting. I'll probably I think my next webinar I'm going to do is on doodles, so I've not done a doodle webinar before, so I've got that in the pipeline. Trying to think, obviously lots of shows, dog shows. Well, summer, it's a busy season for showing. I'm trying to make up my toy bitch got the bitch CC at Crufts, so she got best toy poodle bitch at Crufts. Cool. So I'm trying to make her up, so that means I'm trying to make her a champion, so I need 2 more of those. Thank you very much. So we'll see how that goes. Like lots of stuff going on. Probably forgotten to mention some stuff, so apologize if I have, everybody, but no,
it sounds really exciting. But that concludes our podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, Verity. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been great talking to you, and thanks for putting up with my waffling.
Thanks for listening to the Chat and Dematt podcast. We learned so much from Verity, and hopefully you're inspired to try something new with your poodles. Make sure you don't miss out on a podcast by giving us a follow. We'll see you next time. Bye.